Good evening, I'm Ces Oreña-Drilon.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Shawn Yao.
Tonight on the Big Story, dismissed DPWH engineers Henry Alcantara and Bryce Hernandez have allegedly changed their minds about testifying against the big fish in the flood control scandal. Malakanyang and one senator have a warning to the so-called BGC boys if they are indeed recanting.
At the House of Representatives, one lawmaker has revealed an impeachment plot against President Bongbong Marcos, supposedly being cooked up by pro-Duterte groups.
And the word war between Senators Lacson and Amy Marcos is heating up over the 2026 national budget. And the exchange is now becoming personal.
Pero muli, sa mga witnesses na maaari makatulong sa bansa, wag po kayong magpaloko dahil baka po lumabas na instant na kayo po ang maligtas dahil sa inyong mga katotohanang isisiwalat, kayo'y magamit at kayo pa ang mapunta sa kulungan. At ang inyong itinuturo na malalaking isda, sila pa po ang makawala.
Former Public Works and Highways officials who backtracked on their testimonies could face perjury charges, according to Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson. Lacson's warning comes amid reports dismissed DPWH engineer Henry Alcantara has recanted his earlier statements. In a counter affidavit filed before the Department of Justice, Alcantara allegedly denied any involvement in kickback schemes or ghost flood control projects. The DOJ, however, said it has not received any formal retraction or motion yet. Senator Lacson, also chairman of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, warned that witnesses who take back sworn testimony face what he called a double whammy. He said they could be charged with perjury under the revised penal code as amended by Republic Act 11-594. That's punishable by up to 12 years in prison, a 1 million peso fine, and in the case of government officials, perpetual disqualification. Still, Lacson stressed that any recantation would not derail the investigation, which he said is backed by documentary and circumstantial evidence. He cited the turnover of cash and vehicles by Alcantara and fellow engineer Bryce Hernandez as proof the case does not rely on testimony alone. Recall that Alcantara had told the Senate there was a system of kickbacks in DPWH projects. He also implicated several lawmakers and admitted he personally delivered money. Meanwhile, Assistant Ombudsman Miko Clavano dismissed reports of recantation as noise, saying the authorities will rely only on sworn statements. Malakanyang, for its part, also said it has received no information confirming any backtracking. It also urged witnesses not to be swayed by possible offers.
Huwag po kayong magpaloko dahil baka po lumabas na instant na kayo po ang maligtas dahil sa inyong mga katotohanang isisiwalat, kayo'y magamit at kayo pa ang mapunta sa kulungan. At ang inyong itinuturo na malalaking isda, sila pa po ang makawala.
Meanwhile, the Public Works Department continues on its purge as more officials get the axe for alleged irregularities over infrastructure projects. And as that happened, the DPWH also announced initiatives to clean house and get important projects off the ground. Gerard de la Peña has this report.
Heads rolled once more at the Public Works Department amid the controversy on anomalous flood control projects. Relieved from their posts were regional directors from the Ilocos Region, Calabar Zone, Bicol Region, and Central Visayas. Assistant regional directors from Mimaropa and Bicol Region also got the axe. And in Metro Manila, replacements are being arranged for the district engineers of Manila 3rd District and South Manila District.
We are officially relieving today for various reasons, no? Specifically because there are ongoing investigations here, which I cannot fully disclose to you. But suffice it to say, we are investigating a lot of people in the department.
The DPWH is also kicking out the OIC district engineers of La Union, Iloilo City, and Leyte for alleged failure to abide by the qualification standards of the Civil Service Commission. Also announced by the DPWH chief, he himself will testify against former Ako Bicol Party List Congressman Zaldico at the Sandigan Bayan on January 20. This is regarding the anomalous road dike in Oriental Mindoro, a project contracted to SunWest, which is a company founded by Co.
Dahil ako ang complainant sa marami sa mga kasong to, makikita nyo akong magtitistigo sa maraming mga kaso sa mga susunod na linggo, susunod na buwan.
Meantime, on the so-called Cabral files, Dizon reiterated that he never authorized Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Leviste to get the documents. The files, supposedly from the late former Undersecretary Maria Catalina Cabral, showed how the system of allocables worked, thus distributing infrastructure funds to congressional districts.
Ang may basbas sa akin, yung allocations per district. Pero yung pagkuha ng file sa isang computer, huwag ang basbas sa akin yan.
With or without blessings, the Ombudsman now has a copy of the files which it may or may not release to the public. But to avoid any more issues with the allocables, the DPWH is completely ditching the system. Secretary Dizon says they're coming up with a new budgeting formula soon.
Pero ang punot dulo ng problemang yan is yung maling paglalagay ng mga proyekto sa budget. Paano nakakalusot ang mga proyektong dahil magkakasi ganito o si ganyan, nakakalusot na lang yung mga proyekto yun, ginagagay sa budget. Kahit na walang plano, kahit na hindi ini-endorso ng mga regional development councils, I think by next week, Undersecretary Conti's team, ang ating bagong Undersecretary for Planning, will be ready with the new formula, with the new system of how we make sure that items in budgets, projects in the budgets are really projects that are absolutely necessary and that are not just there because people want to steal money.
Dizon also shared his agency's priority projects this year, including the rehabilitation of EDSA, now in full swing, and the repair of C5, which had suffered a lot of wear and tear from use of heavy vehicles and trucks for decades. And those bridges and roads that are already taking years to fix, these will all have to be finished before 2026 ends.
Papatunayan natin na kahit mababa ang budget ng DPWH kumpara sa ibang mga taon, mas marami tayong magagawa, mas marami tayong maaayos, mas marami tayong ma-repair, at gagawin natin ng maayos, ng tama, ng mabilis, at ng mas mura pa.
For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, We Are One News.
And in related news, a recent Pulse Asia survey shows media as the most trusted institution to address corruption in flood control projects. 54% of the respondents say they trust the media, while 47% trust civil society and non-government organizations. The Senate and the House are trusted by 37% and 31% of adult Filipinos respectively when it comes to the infrastructure probe. Meantime, the Office of the Ombudsman, the Independent Commission for Infrastructure, or ICI, and the Department of Public Works and Highways got the least total big trust ratings in managing the scandal. Confidence in the Marcos administration remains low as only 30% of Filipinos said they trust President Bongbong Marcos to address flood control corruption. Meanwhile, a whopping 48% expressed low to no trust and 22% were undecided. This is slightly unchanged from the same survey findings on September 20 to 25, where 32% of Filipinos expressed trust in the current government to deal with the issue. Now, what does the palace say about the new survey results?
Hindi naman talaga makakaila na ang Pangulo talaga ay kumikilos para masawata ang korupsyon. Sabi nga natin, hindi lahat sa pagkakataon ang Pangulo ay mag-iimbestiga ng korupsyon sa kanyang panahon. Kung hindi ito gagawin ng Pangulo ngayon, kailan pa? At kung hindi ang Pangulong Marcos ang gagawa nito, sino pa?
Now, still on the Pulse Asia survey, it also found that a big majority, or 71% of Filipino adults, believe that government officials found responsible for the anomalous flood control projects will be punished. The poll was conducted between December 12 and 15 among 1,200 adult respondents and has a plus-minus 2.8% margin of error.
Now let's get some insights on these latest developments in the flood control controversy. And joining us live is political analyst Dennis Coronacion. Welcome to the Big Story.
Hi, thank you for having me. Good evening, ladies.
Yes. I'd like to zero in on the 71% who believe that the culprits will be punished. What is your take on this?
Well, I think that 71% was the result last September 2025. And that has already gone down, for the last quarter of 2025. That has gone down to 54%, if I'm not mistaken.
54%, yes.
Right. So
So
that
but
means,
it's still substantial.
of course, it's still the part of the so-called simple majority or small majority. But the decrease, let's note that the decrease from 71% to 50% to 54% is significant. I think that's close to 20%. And that means that a lot of Filipinos have become pessimistic about the sincerity of the administration to go after those who are involved, especially the big fish.
But do you really think it is the fact that they believe the admin is insincere, or is it just fatigue, exhaustion? Eh, ganyan naman talaga. Wala namang mahuhuli niyan. We've been hearing this since the beginning of the scandal.
Well, it's possible that it can be a mixture of both. Maaring napapagod na rin ng mga Pilipino, no? Sa paghihintay kung sino talaga, kung mapaparusahan ba talaga yung mga mabibigat na tao dito, yung so-called big fish. Pero if we're going to look at I think there's another portion in the Pulse Asia survey that says, about the people, the number of people, Filipinos who still expect that the government is going to move against this, the people involved, the government officials involved, considerable pa rin, significant pa rin yung number. So, if you put that against dun sa hypothesis or argument na baka nagsasawa ng mga tao, tingin ko hindi naman nagiging pessimistic as time goes by, kasi yung mga pinapangako ng administrasyon, like nung pangako nila na by December 15 meron ng mga malalaking tao na makukulong at makakasuhan, parang hindi naman nangyari yon. So maaring hindi rin fatigue, posible rin na nagiging pessimistic lang sila.
Sorry, it's 59%, not 54.
Yeah,
But
58%.
still a drop, however. Admittedly, the government was too optimistic. I mean, they admit that mistake. And they have been really employing more performative actions rather than actual results. So ano po ba ang sa tingin ninyong pwedeng gawin ng gobyerno to regain trust?
Well, siguro ang dapat nilang gawin, kasi ang pagkakamali nila nung nakaraan, pangako ng pangako ng mga bagay na hindi naman pala nila kayang tuparin. So siguro in the process pagpapangako nila na yon, nagke-create ng great expectations on the part of the public. So siguro ang dapat lang gawin is to manage the expectations of the public. But how? Bawasan nila yung mga pagpapapogi nila, so-called performative leadership. Oo, kasi hindi naman talaga nila kaya mag-deliver eh. And tingin ko, hindi naman talaga nila gagawin, kasi ang analysis ko dyan is that this anti-corruption crusade of the administration is nothing but a weapon used by the president against his former allies, turned over to the other side.
He bit more than he could chew.
That's right. And in the process, he created great expectations on the part of the Filipino public.
Would you say, Professor, that it was a political miscalculation for the administration to zero in on this flood control scandal?
Well, I think calculated move naman yan on the part of the administration. It's just that they were unable to control, the process. Hindi nila na-control. They thought that they could, the president could use it against his former allies. But then eventually, it began to have a life of its own na hindi na nila makontrol, ano? So, paano nila ngayon ito tatapusin? Siguro iniisip nila, wag yung mga dineliver nilang mga pangako, ay yung mga pinangako nila is hayaan nilang ano no para mag-die down na lang. Wag na ignore na lang nila eventually. O kaya mag-deliver sila at least 50% or even less of what they promised.
Pero yun nga, Professor, parang they're not willing to let it die down, which is, I think, a good thing naman, no? Like you said, itong mga performative things or performative acts, these are what they can do in the interim. Kasi sa totoo lang, alam naman natin lahat mabagal yung usad ng mga kaso kung susunod tayo sa mga judicial timelines, investigative timelines. So in your assessment, no, in the past year, were they able to balance the performative aspect while, you know, actually also working really hard on the investigation and juridical part of it?
Yeah, you're right about that in pointing out that the legal process takes takes a very long time ano, to conclude. So in the meantime, what they're doing, what the administration has been doing, is to engage in performative actions or performative leadership. The problem with that is that it tends to go back. It tends to boomerang doon sa mga ano no nagpe-perform yan, yung performative leadership. Tinatamaan sila ngayon. And look at the surveys, the latest surveys, survey ratings of the president. Bumaba no, although hindi naman sobrang baba, pero makikita mo na nag-suffer din siya. Supposedly, originally siya dapat ang ano ang nag-gain dito sa public perception. Actually, nag-gain siya nung umpisa nung kanyang expose, ano? Yung mahiya naman kayo. But eventually, as time went by, parang hindi na nagbe-benefit yung presidente dito sa bagay na kanyang sinumulan. So, yun ang problema. Nagbo-boomerang siya doon sa author ng expose na to.
Kasi wala naman siyang follow-through na ginawa.
That's right, walang follow-through. O hindi ma-meet yung target.
Yeah. Can he shield himself, for instance, from potential impeachment by saying, ako naman ang nagsiwalat niyan?
Well, pwede niya sabihin yun during the kapag na-file ng impeachment complaint laban sa committee level, sa Committee on Justice. But I think his real defense against any impeachment complaint that would be filed against him is the numbers. So I think at the moment he still enjoys the support of the majority of the House of Representatives. Except of course pag na-mishandle niya yan, halimbawa, na posible naman kasi I think he was able to disappoint a good number of congressmen when he vetoed 90 plus billion pesos doon sa what's this?
Programmed funds.
Yeah. So maaring na-turn off niya yung ilang members ng House. And let's see if this is going to have an impact on the possibility that the president would be impeached.
We thank you so much for your insights, political analyst Dennis Coronacion.
We're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, we get more insights in the reported impeachment moves against President Bongbong Marcos and even Vice President Sara Duterte from a House member. Navota's representative Toby Tiangco joins us live in the studio for that discussion when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back to the big story. House Senior Deputy Minority Leader Eday Erice reveals some lawmakers are preparing to file an impeachment complaint against President Bongbong Marcos. That's as the lower chamber resumes session on January 26. The possible complaint is supposedly anchored on betrayal of public trust linked to national budget issues. Erice said members of pro-Duterte groups approached him to endorse a draft impeachment complaint he claims is already being finalized. The congressman declined, saying he does not want to be involved in impeaching either the president or Vice President Sara Duterte.
Mas maganda kung hindi ako endorser, so I would leave an open mind and magiging fair sa decision ko. I would rather just participate in the Committee on Justice. Pangalawa, ang reason ko, siyempre, they are pro-Duterte groups. Hindi naman ako identified with the Dutertes. I'm a member of the Liberal Party, so hindi naman maganda. So, sabi ko, kaya tumanggi ako.
Erice also said that at least 2 lawmakers from the majority and independent blocs are reportedly willing to endorse the complaint, with proponents still seeking support from the minority. He said the grounds may involve alleged anomalies in the 2023 to 2025 national budgets, including flood control projects.
The President allowed and signed the 3 budgets which contained the anomalous projects. Tapos pumayag siya na ilagay sa program funds yung mga dapat na nasa program appropriations like yung PhilHealth, yung mga foreign assisted projects which caused the delays of the projects and which caused hundreds of billions lost in terms of material, in terms of commitment fees, in terms of penalties, in terms of materials and labor costs because of the delay. I would not prejudge because I want to hear the explanation of the President. He must have his reasons. Kasi kung pinabayaan, that's gross, inexcusable gross negligence. Pero baka naman may underlying reasons.
Meanwhile, Lanao del Sur Representative Zia Alonto Adyong warned that any impeachment move against the chief executive must meet strict constitutional standards. He stressed that the House is guided by evidence, not speculation or partisan pressure.
Unang-una, yung sinasabi natin na impeachment, verified impeachment complaint, halimbawa lang, it should be based on actual evidences. Right now, there's no point of why we need to impeach the president. You need to convince the entire House that these complaints are tantamount or constitute of impeachable offenses. Now, that's number one. Number two is, can you actually connect directly the president with all of these impeachable offenses? So, ganun yun dalawa yun.
Malakanyang, for its part, declined to speculate on the reported impeachment plans. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said there is no confirmed move to impeach the president and described the reports as unsubstantiated.
Sa mga supporters po ng Vice Presidente na nagnanais po na magsampa ng impeachment complaint, mas maganda po siguro bago magturo at tumingin sa iba, tulungan muna nila ang idolo nila. Ang Pangulo po, unang-una, hindi po siya nagnakaw ng pera. Pangalawa, siya po ang nagpapaimbestiga sa mga maaanumalyang flood control projects. Pangatlo, wala po siyang Mary Grace Piatos.
Now let's get another House member to weigh in on this, and with us live in the studio now, the Votas Congressman Toby Tiangco. Good evening, welcome back to the Big Story.
Yes, good evening, Shawn. Good evening, Pauline.
So, have you heard all these talk about the impeachment complaint against the president?
Sa news lang. I've heard it sa news, nabasa ko sa news, na supposedly.
Not
meron.
in the House.
No, wala. Naka-recess kami ngayon, di
Yeah,
ba?
pero
We'll be back pa
bulong-bulungan.
sa 26. No, wala pa. Wala pa.
And do you think it will prosper if there is one?
No, I wouldn't want to speculate because I wouldn't know the grounds. No? So mas mabuti, I will comment on it. I promise I will comment on it pag meron na talagang impeachment complaint. No? So point by point, doon ako magkokomento. Pero habang wala, I wouldn't want to speculate.
Pero real talk, Kong, do you think they would actually let you know beforehand, given your relationship with the president? Or do you think it's more likely na hindi nila papaalam sa'yo kung meron man?
Baka nga hindi nga pinapaalam sa akin. No? Pero publicly naman, sinabi naman ni Kong Erice na he was approached, di ba? So, mukhang
What
based on
about
that.
kay VP? Sara.
Anong kay
Kay
VP?
VP Sara, kung uulitin nila isa pang impeachment attempt against her, come Feb 6, I think.
Okay, I'll be very honest dito sa stand ko dito, no. If come Feb 6, wala pang big fish, ibig sabihin at least si saldi ko hindi pa na ibabalik dito. Hindi ako makikisa doon. Kasi napaka-hipokrito naman namin, di ba? I mean, yung kasamahan namin, hindi namin mapanagot. Tapos gusto namin mapanagot yung ibang tao. Di ba? Parang dito kasi sa kasong to, parang kami yung piskal, di ba? Tapos kami yung piskal, may bahid doon sa amin. Tapos gusto namin panagutin yung ibang tao kaysa doon sa panagutin yung kasama namin. Number 1 yan. Number 2, magkano ba yung ina-accuse nila kay VP Sara?
125?
125 million. Eh dito magkano? Ilang bilyon?
Kahit na, malaking pera pa din.
No, I mean, you compare it, di ba? Ayoko lang nung nagmamalinis.
I see your point.
Ayoko nung naguhugas kamay ka, papalabasin mo, ikaw malinis. Eh, ito naman kay Saldi, di ba? Bakit di na mapanagot? So the government has to do everything para mapanagot si Saldi, whether or not may impeachment against VP Sara.
Hopeful ka pa ba na mapapabalik nila si Kong Zaldi?
Walang choice. They don't have a choice. It's not a matter of a choice, it's a matter of duty. They would have to do it no matter what it takes, di ba? Kasi di ba, ang sinasabi, nakatanggap si Saldi ng pera. And even si Saldi, hindi niya tinatanggi na nakatanggap siya ng pera. Ang pinapalabas lang niya, walang natira sa kanya, ipinasa niya kay Speaker Martin Romualdez. No? And because of the relationship of former Speaker Martin Romualdez kay Presidente Marcos, para mapatunayan, ulitin ko, para mapatunayan ni Presidente Marcos na wala siyang kinalaman dyan, kailangan yung buong gobyerno gawin lahat ng kaya nilang gawa para iuwi si Saldi dito.
I know you said that. You were here.
Yes.
They didn't even cancel the passport until
At the
very
time,
much
di ba?
later.
Oo.
Yes. So parang kulang kasi yung di siniwalat na nga ni Presidente to, pero kulang yung ginawa niya. Kunyari, yung ICI, hindi naman binigyan ng powers na malaki. Ngayon, wala na.
Yes, but
it's
for the
disintegrated.
record, says I'm one of those who filed the independent...
ICAIC?
Yeah, ICAIC.
Yeah.
Independent.
Pero he could have certified it as urgent.
No. I beg to disagree, no. Because the certification of urgency has very strict parameters. Dapat, kaya nga na-abuse yun Dapat emergency to address an emergency or calamity. You can check the Constitution.
Yeah, it's an emergency.
Yeah, doon na nga yung interpretasyon, whether it's an emergency or not. Pero ako, again, I'm always consistent. Di ba? Kasi nung previous budgets, even before the budget of President Marcos, in my first term in Congress, yan na yung sinasabi ko. Pag sinacertify nila na urgent to address a calamity or an emergency, sinasabi ko, anong calamity or emergency ang ina-address natin, kaya natin sinertify. So consistent lang ako lagi. Kung dati sinasabi ko hindi pa pwedeng gamitin yon, ngayon baka hindi pa pwede. Unless sabihin lang emergency yung paghanap kay Saldi.
But, well, we heard our political analysts say kanina, parang it was really a tactic to shore up approval, to shore up his popularity that was already waning. And then, nawala. Hindi na niya tinutukan yung pagsiwalat niya
Doon
ng
sa
corruption.
magsimula sa mahiya kayo, di ba?
Oo,
Ayun,
nagkulang. Became it just dragged
Yes,
on.
I was so happy about doon sa mahiya naman kayo. But again, I was not kung ako kasi, mas gusto ko yung under-promise and over-deliver, di ba?
Yeah.
So siguro kaya na-disappoint yung mga tao dito kasi wag naman magagalit kasi nagbigay ng petsa. Di ba? Sana kung hindi nilang nagbigay ng petsa kasi nung binigay na petsa tapos walang nakulong, kaya na-disappoint yung mga tao. I mean, that's reality, di ba?
Pero a month ago, Kong, sinabi nyo na willing kayo mag-cut ties with the President. Nasa Manila Bulletin to, nakita ko lang. Kung, yun nga, if he does not show enough conviction na idawit, no, kahit yung mga kamag-anak niya. And I'm assuming that, of course, referring to Martin Romualdez.
Yes, because ang aking paniwala is hindi siya involved dito, di ba? At yung paniwalang yon ay base doon sa, sinabi ko na, doon sa personal conversation, di ba? Pero hindi naman ako yung dapat masatisfy dito. It's not about me. It's not about the President. Hindi yan tungkol sa amin, hindi yan tungkol sa kanya. Ito ay tungkol sa ano ba ang inaasahan ng ating mga mamamayan. At ano ba ang gusto ng ating mga mamamayan. At ano ba yung nararapat para sa ating mamamayan? To all those questions is mapanagot kung sino yung dapat managot. Walang proproteksyonan, kamag-anak man yan o hindi. And it is a sworn duty. Ito ay katungkulan sa ilalim ng konstitusyon, di ba? So hindi yan kung ano yung gusto ko. Hindi yan kung ano yung gusto niya. Ang sinasabi ko yung sa loobin ng ating mga kababayan. That's all there is to it.
Kung if we can go back to the impeachment, the possible impeachment complaint against President Bongbong Marcos. So, Kong Erice cited a possible betrayal of public trust based on anomalies in the budget. Is that a strong ground? Kasi what they're citing here is parang command responsibility, culpability. And do you think it will gain traction at the lower house?
Pauline, I hope you allow me not to answer that question unless talagang may impeachment complaint. No? Medyo napaisip lang ako nung sinabi lang ni Kong Erice na di ba kung tama yung intindi ko, kahit yung meron mga nasa mayorya
Yes.
na
May isa.
May dalawa.
Dalawa yata.
Dalawang
Dalawa.
majority and some independents.
Okay. So yun, medyo napaisip lang ako doon kung yun strategiya. Again, no, kasi ang problema dito lahat speculation eh. Pero ibig sabihin yan by strategiya ng ibang nasa mayorya dahil medyo ipit ang budget ngayon. So gagamitin nila para mas kailangan sila ng Malakanyang, di ba? Di ba parang, kailangan nyo kami, kailangan masaya yung mga congressman dahil may impeachment laban sa presidente. Kasi doon sa sinabi niyan, I'm just basing it on that. No?
How has Congress changed, no? Yung environment, yung kultura? Kasi nga nagpalit tayo ng speaker from Martin Romualdez to Boji D. It's been a few months na rin. May nagbago ba? Like, where's Martin? Does he still wield power as far as you know? Because syempre, even in the previous Congress, previous admin, majority floor leader, medyo talagang leadership siya eh.
Admittedly, influence, he still wields it. Kasi otherwise, bakit wala nagsasalita? Ang dami naman ng may alam kung ano yung nangyari noon, kung ano yung powers ni Saldi, kung ano yung mga kalokohan na nangyari noon, bakit walang nagsasalita, di ba? Kaya nga, to go back to the impeachment of VP Sara, parang napaka-ipokrito, di ba? Pipirma sila laban kay VP Sara, pero ayaw nila naman isiwalat yung alam nilang kalokohan doon sa kinasaldi ko, di ba? Bakit naman ako sasama doon sa mga taong ipokrito?
Siyempre, before kasi the argument would be, siyempre siya yung speaker, kontrolado niya yung mga funds, ayaw mo madehado yung distrito mo. Pero ngayon na hindi na siya speaker, ano yung hawak niya pa? Kasi wala pa rin nagsasalita.
Kasi nakinabang sila eh.
Ayun.
Ganun na lang ba?
Siyempre,
Utang na loob na lang ba?
Hindi utang na loob.
They're also
They're
incriminating
complicit.
themselves.
Oo, kung sinabi nila na ganito, kung balikan sila, kasi ikaw ganyan ginawa mo, hindi rin sila makasalita. Kaya nga, di ba, bakit sila ang magpa-file ng impeachment?
Meron bang paper trail tong mga to? Kasi parang ang lumalabas kasi if we look at Martin Romualdez,
Ayan
medyo
naman tayo
mahirap.
sa papel eh.
Ang hirap nga.
Ang gulo ng papel.
Ang gulo kasi kung meron ba, wala ba, di ba?
Hindi, kaya nga babalik tayo ulit kay Saldi. Sabi ni Saldi, meron siyang full accounting, di ba? Doon sa interviews niya. So ibalik natin si Saldi dito para talagang pakita na wala tayong
But if
kinakatakutan.
he is in a country where walang extradition, paano?
I think there are ways
Ways.
and means.
But-
If you really want, I think there are ways and means. Sa dami ng, okay, ganito na lang. Hanapin muna ng lahat ng embahada at sabihin kung nasaan siya. Bago natin
So,
sabihin.
kahit ikaw hindi ka naniniwalang ginagawa ng gobyerno ang lahat para makabalik siya, di ba?
Yung ibang parts ng gobyerno, hindi pa ako convinced. Kasi,
Kaya nga.
di ba yung mga embahada?
Who's at the helm of government? Ang presidente, di ba?
Yes, that's why, di ba, I might get into trouble always pushing him to do more. Hindi ba, ganun naman ginagawa ko, di ba? Hanggang sa puntong magalit na siya sa akin. Yun
Galit na ba siya?
Hindi ko alam.
Does he still call you for advice?
Hindi,
or
he never
He
called me
never
for
calls you
advice, ha? I mean, don't give me too much credit that I don't deserve, no?
No, but because you're, I mean, kind of
No, why did he call you to that lunch where...
I don't know, di ba? I cannot, maybe to hear that, I don't know. I mean, it's purely speculative.
But you're willing to test
No, I was there in the lunch. He called
Yeah.
us after lunch. We were both there in that lunch.
So there are no more weekly lunches, I suppose? Or
No, there's still the weekly,
Sunday.
pag nandito sila, mass eh. Kasi ang pinag-iikutan naman ng lunch na yun, kasi may misa. Tapos kasabay ng misa yung lunch. Ngayon, misa tsaka merienda.
Okay.
Oh, nandun ka pa? Pumupunta ka pa?
Yes.
So,
Di ba
outside the
awkward?
kulambu ka ba or what?
Hindi ko alam. Alam mo naman yun. Di ba he's so cordial, he's so pleasant. Ganun naman siya eh. hindi naman siya yung katulad natin na barumbado, di ba?
Sinali mo ako.
Ako. Tulad natin na ibig ko sabihin na ako na
Hindi,
medyo,
pwede naman
medyo
akong
ano, di ba?
sumama sa
Di ba
barumbado.
medyo ano yun eh. Medyo may pagka-prim and proper. Di ba? I mean, medyo may pagka-prim and proper. Hindi naman
So, I
mga
guess-
katulad natin yung lumaki sa kalye, di
Hindi,
ba?
pero I guess what...
I mean, natin is just a figure of
Yes.
speech.
Yeah.
Well, hindi, okay lang. Badge of honor yun sa amin. Pero kung kunyari, syempre every Sunday nandun lahat, do you like tiptoe around the subject? Di na siya nabibring up? You just
No, first, even long time ago, kasi family lunch yun, you don't bring up, my point is
Yeah.
don't bring up politics and work sa lunch, di ba? You want it to be family.
Kung
So,
when it comes
hindi
to
ko
the
na-
impeachment complaint of Vice President Sara Duterte, a lot of people notice a shift in the messaging, the view of PBBM. Before, sabi niya, ayaw niya niyan, he doesn't want to think about an impeachment against the Vice President, but now he's saying he's not opposed to any possible complaints. Sabi niya, dapat lahat ng liable, maging accountable. His approach will be the same when it comes to the flood control scandal. What do you make of that? Is the President now...
Backtracking, parang ganyan.
Parang opo, iba ni yung kanyang pananaw pagdating sa impeachment ni
I don't know, I
VP?
haven't hindi namin napag-usapan
Pero
yun eh.
sa tingin
What do you
mo
make
nga,
of...
what do
Hindi,
you
shift?
pero yung message niya na yon na ang dinig ko kanina na pag impeachable officer, he said, ano bang exact word ni Claire? Hindi ko masyadong nakuha. Ayoko lang kasi
Supportahan nyo na lang something.
Hindi. May ginamit eh. But it works both ways, di ba? So, again, speculation. Pwede rin naman, if a-file nila to show that the standards would be the same for both, di ba? Kasi kung nagkasabay impeachment.
Or
So,
to distract us from a possible impeachment of VP Sara.
no, but I think the
Parang-
most important thing is to have the same standards for both. Di ba? Kung may magpa-file kay BBM, hindi naman pwedeng iba yung trato dun sa kay BBM, iba yung trato kay VP
Last
Sara.
year,
So,
Kong-
dapat pareho yung standards, pareho yung proseso, lahat maging pareho.
Kaso mas mahirap na yung proseso.
Yes, alam natin yon. Alam natin na mas mahirap yung proseso. Kaya nga kanina nung pinag-uusapan, ng una kong ginawa, binasa ko yung Supreme Court ruling. Para lang just to get refreshed kung ano ba yung dapat na tamang proseso.
And parang may trial na mangyayari.
May someone,
Diba?
kailangan yung
oo.
impeachable.
Parang
Yung
will
ini-impeach
defend.
nyo, pupunta doon.
Oo.
Hindi, parang intindi ko doon, kahit may 1/3 yata, kailangan dumaan pa yata sa
Plenary.
Committee on Justice muna. Bago
Yes.
pumunta sa plenary.
Yes, sa plenary.
At may personal appearance nung
Yes.
gusto nyong i-impeach.
Yes,
Para
yes. So
We'll have
binabasa
the
ko-
opportunity to
Yes. So,
defend him.
binasa ko. Pero hindi pa ako natapos.
Kung not sure if napanood nyo yung press ko ni Secretary Vince Dizon this morning, apparently itong allocables na hindi ko sure kung naintindihan talaga natin lahat how it works. Binago na raw niya nung isang member ng DPWH under him yung calculation. Ano yung thoughts mo dun sa
Paano
allocable?
binago yung calculation?
Hindi pa niya masyado
Binago yung
in-explain. Bago na
DUPA ba? Yung detailed unit price analysis ang
Hindi,
binago?
yung
Or
Cabral formula.
Yung,
is
yung,
probably-
yung BBM parametric formula is no more?
Hindi, okay. Yung BBM parametric formula is a formula lang kung papaano magkakaroon ng net restored ang bawat distrito. Kung yun ang sasabihin natin, kung ang binabanggit nila is yung BBM parametric formula, kasi para hindi, kunyari, kayong tatlo, congressman, at may 100 peso budget, paano nyo hahatiin sa inyong tatlo? So ang ginawa nila is gumawa sila ng formula at yung formula na yon ay may net restored. Yung net restored is your minimum for every year. So ibig sabihin, simula itong taon to, hindi ka dapat bumaba doon sa figure na yon. Ngayon, kung ginawa nilang mas scientific yung bagay na yan, okay lang sa akin, wala namang problema as long as may formula. Pero ang dapat maintindihan ng ating mga manonood is, mahalaga rin kasi doon sa mga distrito yung budget na galing sa national government. Otherwise, kung walang aasahan na budget from the national government, yung mahirap na local government, mananatiling mahirap eh. Di ba? Kaya nga doon sa parametric, kung ano man yung formula, akin, ang unsolicited advice, syempre, yung mga naiiwan na lugar, baka mas kailangan nila ng mas malaking budget kaysa doon sa developed na lugar na kayang gumastos. Kasi ang kinukuha naman doon ang hinihingi ng congressman o kinukuha doon sa national budget para dalhin sa distrito niya is yung hindi kaya ng local budget. Pero may mayayaman na LGUs naman, di ba?
Ito, so si Undersecretary Nick Conti from the DPWH, siya yung gumawa ng bagong formula which next week pa naman nila ilo-launch. So I guess we can save that for
Hindi,
next
pero
week.
tsaka kung next week pa nila ilo-launch yun at yan yung pamalit doon sa BBM parametric formula, kakailanganin yan in March kasi yun na yung budget call. Ganun kaaga budget call niyan March or April.
Pero before we let you go, how are you finding this budget talaga, this General Appropriations Act?
Hindi, doon sa pag-approve, naging...
Malinis ba talaga o hindi?
Hindi, okay. Doon sa pag-approve...
Hindi?
No, ibig sabihin, hindi, doon sa pag-approve...
So yes or no nga
Hindi, kasi yung budget cannot be determined kung malinis o hindi hanggat hindi na-implement Kasi pwedeng natanggalan ng proyekto pero hindi na-implement ng maayos. Kaya yun nga yung tinatanong ko, kung yung detailed unit price analysis bang binawasan. Kasi kung binawasan yung mga presyo, at tulad na inabutan ko dito, sabi ni Sec Vince, kahit binawasan yung presyo, ma-assure na magagawa yung mga proyekto, di mabuti, di ba? Yung half lang naman yung pag-approve ng budget Yung paggawa, doon makikita yung resulta.
Pero syempre may soft pork na naka-disguise doon, may mga that's the basis of my question.
Oh, okay. Kaya nga, it will also be connected doon sa sa implementation. Kasi nakita ko si Sec Rex Gatchalian kanina, sinabi niya na walang pwedeng politikong pumunta sa payout. So nasa implementation pa rin, di ba? Ngayon, yung sa MAIP, sabi ko nga, dapat yon gawin na nila yung zero billing. Dapat yung mga tao, pag lumabas sa ospital, wala silang babayaran, I saw the ratings of the president earlier. That's one of the best things he can do to
Pero so far, you think it's okay?
Happy ka?
So far, wala muna yung implementation. Like you said, that's a whole other animal. Pero yung pag-approve...
happy ako? Hindi.
Why?
Okay.
Kasi di ba, October 13 pa lang, hinihingi ko na yung budget per district, budget per party list, saan dinala? Napirmahan yung budget, hindi nila i-disclose yun. So nakasikreto pa rin yung budget per district, nakasikreto pa rin yung budget per party list, at kung saan dinala. At kung nagkaroon nga ng nominal voting noon sa budget, I would have voted no because of that reason. Kasi kung transparent, ipakita natin lahat. So bakit may tinatago pa tayo?
This is my question for you, Congressman. Is there
So
anything...
happy? No.
Okay, that's a categorical
Categorical
no.
yun.
My question is there anything in the present budget that could be used to incentivize lawmakers to sign an impeachment complaint now? Kasi last time, sabi niyo po, ginamit yung mga FLR as a condition. Yung mga MOOE, minsan, inaano din yan, withhold. Is there anything now that could be used as incentives for lawmakers to sign an impeachment?
Hello, Amy Marcos.
Ano?
Hindi, yun ang ina-accuse ni Senator
Ano?
Amy Marcos.
May mga nakatago daw doon. And
Iba
you
kasi-
yourself said, wala na talagang FLR.
Hindi, pero
diba?
iba yung FLR, iba yung incentivize. Kasi yung FLR, natanggap na yung pera. So instead
lang
na ibalik
na-release.
yung pera, kailangan magpagawa yung project.
So do you
diba?
see it
So may
somewhere?
may ibang angulo doon. It was not only yung pag-incentivize sa congressman, ginamit na dahilan para yung nagbenta ng proyekto, hindi na kailangan ibalik yung pera doon sa pinagbentahan niya. So may ibang angulo doon. Dito, kung sasabihin mong pwedeng
Kapalit
incentivize,
for the signature.
Yeah.
honestly, yes. Honestly, yes.
Doon sa hindi
Kaya nga
pag-reveal
sinasabi ko,
ng budget ng distrito.
Oo.
Yun.
Kaya sinasabi ko rin sa'yo, Ces, kanina, na baka naman yung iba ginagamit para mas marami ang mahinging tulong para sa distrito, di ba? Yun ang political part of it. That's the politics behind it.
Dami pa nating
Hindi ba?
bubantayan.
Oo nga.
Hindi, politika yun politika yun. Pero hindi ibig sabihin na kung pinulitika,
That's,
binulsa yung pera. Pero kung ginamit, tinatanong niyo kung magagamit sa political purpose, and one political purpose is the impeachment,
The answer
may
is
magagamit. Okay? Iba yun doon sa kung may
bubulsahin.
pwedeng ibulsa yung pera. Kasi doon sa 2025 budget, ginamit na dahilan yung binulsang pera, ginamit yung impeachment para
makabulsa ng pera.
para makabulsa ng pera. Okay? So yun yung kaibahan.
Alright, clear.
Pero, happy ka?
Malinaw Malinaw naman.
Ayan, categorical, no, hindi ako happy. Ako hindi happy. Sinabi ko nga,
Hindi tinatanong ko si Pawi kung happy siya sa sagot mo. Did you answer her question?
Yes.
Hindi ako happy, hindi ako matahimik kasi hindi ko alam bakit ayaw nila ilabas yun eh.
All right. Well, we thank you for talking to us, Kong,
Yes.
and for coming to the show.
Yes.
And for being
Basta wag lang alas
categorical.
8 ng umaga. Basta wag lang alas 8 ng umaga.
So, that was Navotas Congressman Toby Tiangco.
Now on to another Marcos. This time, Senator Amy Marcos now engaged in a raging verbal tussle with Senate President pro tempore Ping Lacson. Lacson apparently has had enough of the presidential sister's allegation about pork giniling in the 2026 budget. He asked Marcos to shut up, as she too has around 2.5 million pesos worth of allocables in her own budget in 2025. That's as per documents left behind by the late former DPWH Undersecretary Maria Catalina Cabral, now with Lacson's office. Lacson said Senator Marcos does not have the moral ascendancy to criticize since she was a member of the BICAM committee that polished the budget and should have raised these concerns during deliberations. Lacson also took a swipe on Imy's criticisms against aid or ayuda programs when she always turned up during distributions. The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee chairman also blasted his colleague's accusation that she was pressured not to speak during Lacson's hearing since she never showed up to these anyway. Lacson even said, quote, she might want to apply as the Senate's meow meow. And in reply, Senator Marcos said the allocables Lacson referred to in her budget was a mere wish list and ended up reallocated to the DPWH central office. In fact, she said none of the opposition senators like herself, Bongo, Bato de la Rosa, and Robin Padilla got funding for the requested projects. And finally, the president's sister said she has no knowledge at all of the administration's allocable since she's not even lawyering for Malakanyang. She also hit Lacson with, quote, baka makipagsabunutan, sure akong talo ako dyan. And amid the word war, Senate President Tito Soto had this to say.
Yeah, her accusations are unfair and baseless. Paano naging pork yung gusto mong magkaroon ng medical assistance sa mga private hospitals kasi hindi kasya sa mga government hospitals. Problema yung pagka nagninikpiking ka na eh. Di ba? Of course, she's entitled to her wrong opinion, own opinion.
In other news, Meralco Power Gen Corporation, or MGen, has denied buying shares in Solar para sa Bayan of Batangas Representative Leandro Leviste. In a statement, MGen clarified that it invested instead in SP New Energy Corporation, or SPNEC for short, a separate and publicly listed company also founded by Leviste. The company added that it did not acquire any rights or interests related to Solar para sa Bayan's congressional franchise. MGen says it complied with existing laws and regulations.
This is still the big story on One News, and coming up, ICI Special Advisor Rodolfo Azurin is already resigned to the fate of the special panel probing the massive flood control corruption. The details when we return. Stay tuned. The big story is back with more news, starting with volcanologists projecting Mount Mayon's restiveness stretching for 6 months. According to PHIVOLC's Director Teresito Bacolcol, the outlook is based on the volcano's activity in 2023. But unlike then, there is no lava flow or lava fountaining seen so far. Bacolcol said the volcano's current behavior is weak to moderate unrest, marked by pyroclastic density currents and rock falls, not molten lava, despite the red glow visible at night. PHIVOLCS has so far recorded 90 PDC events, 150 rock falls, crater glow, volcanic inflation, and 195 tons of sulfur dioxide emissions. Mayon remains under alert level 3 with no basis yet to raise to alert level 4.
And in Cebu City, the death toll in the landfill collapse has climbed to 8. 28 are still missing, while 18 have been rescued and are now recovering. The DENR has already issued a cease and desist order against the operator of the landfill. Local officials said that recent earthquakes and heavy rains may have caused the collapse. All these happened while the city is enjoying what supposedly the grandest festivity in the country, the Sinulog Festival. Sinulog kicked off this weekend through the Dakbayan, where 17 villages compete for an ethnic dance showdown.
And President Bongbong Marcos has departed for the United Arab Emirates for a working visit. He will attend Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, where he is also set to sign several agreements, including the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, or CEPA. The Philippines and the UAE are likewise expected to ink a Memorandum of Understanding on defense cooperation. While Marcos is abroad, Executive Secretary Ralph Recto, Agrarian Reform Secretary Conrado Estrella, and Social Welfare Chief Rex Gatchalian are designated as caretakers.
Meantime, the fate of the ICI, or Independent Commission for Infrastructure, still hangs in the balance. That's according to the fact-finding panel special advisor Rodolfo Azurin Jr. in an interview with our sister program Storycon this afternoon. The former PNP chief said they have yet to hear from Malakanyang if resigned commissioners Rogelio Singson and Rosana Fajardo will be replaced soon. The remaining members are also ready in the event the ICI is dissolved by February, as some lawmakers predicted.
So far, natuloy pa rin naman po yung mga ginagawa natin pag-imbestiga dun sa mga flood control projects at mga infrastructure. Suggested nga po kay chairman namin na I think we need to write the Office of the President and ask them if they already have a replacement po sa mga commissioners namin. Kasi nga, hindi po makapag-function ng maayos ang ICI with two lacking commissioners po. In the event po na they deem it na ganun nga po ang i-terminate na nila o i-abolish ang ICI because they feel na parang may duplication po ng function, wala po tayong magagawa.
General Azurin also confirmed that Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Leviste submitted documents to the ICI. Azurin did not directly say if these were the same files the lawmakers supposedly got from the late former Public Works Undersecretary Maria Catalina Cabral.
The file that is being mentioned po by Congressman Leviste, ipinakita po niya yan sa aming mga commissioners during his visit. And then I think it's already with our legal po. Legal. So legal na ho ang tumitingin kung ano ho ba yung veracity ng mga files na ipinakita po ni Congressman Leviste.
And before we go, the award season in Hollywood has officially kicked off with the 83rd Golden Globe Awards. And the big winners are in our big picture tonight. Shakespeare-inspired Hamnet won Best Drama Film. American medical drama The Pit also won Best Drama Series. Other winners include Timothy Chalamet, who got his first Golden Globe for Best Male Actor Award in a musical or comedy film for Marty Supreme. And of course, our favorite K-pop Demon Hunters just won Best Animated Movie with its hit soundtrack Golden, winning Best Original Song. Congratulations to all the winners. But for tonight, that's it for the Big Story this Monday. Thank you so much for watching.
We are back here tomorrow at 8 p.m. and we will see you then.
Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time. Have a good night.